More than 1 billion people inhabit this subcontinent T. And yet, in the corners where civilization retreats, another power governs. The Yangol does not forgive. The Jit does not yield. And between the shadows of the Sundarbans, Somsin watches, Somsin waits. India is a territory of extremes that defies all logic. Mountains that touch the sky in the north, deserts that scorch in the west, and Yangol so dense that the sun lake never touches the ground. The monsoon dictates the rhythm of life. When it arrives, the rivers overflow and the earth is reborn. When it leaves, dust covers everything and thirst becomes low. Between these brutal cycles, millions of creatures javelin to exist on the eye of the possible. The air is sick. Humidity climbs to every surface like a second skin. The sounds of the Yangol never steep. Insects that buzz, birds that scream warnings, branches that crack under invisible weights. Nothing is casual jeer. Every noise just a meaning. Every silence has red. The forests of salt and mangrove extend where the Ganges dies into the sea. The Sundarbans, a labyrinth of water and roots, where solid ground is an illusion. The tides rise and fall twice a day, transforming the landscape into something unrecognizable. What was a path in the morning will be a Chanel by afternoon. What was shelter at dawn will be a trap by dusk. Jeer the geography conspires against every living being. Farther north, where the foothills of the Himalaya descend towards the plains, the terrain unfolds its green mantle. Tall grasslands that giant and tear bodies. Some forests were like filters in golden columns, rivers that serpent through the vegetation, Icarian sediments from ancient mountains. It is a landscape that seems peaceful, but the calm is only appearance. The Jit can exceed 45 degrees in summer. The cold drops to near zero on winter nights. The thermal variation punishes those who are not prepared. Only the most adapted persist. Only the strongest dominate. And in this theater of absolute survival, a predator just crowned itself without opposition. Not by decree, not by inheritance, by pure biological supremacy. The Bengal tiger, its name resounds in every village that borders the Yangol. Maidens invoke it to silence restless children. Pouches fear it more than any human law. Forest guards trek it with reverence and caution, because this felon is not simply an animal. It is the incarnation of everything wild India represents. Power without limits, infinite patience, days without warning. The Bengal tiger occupies the absolute throne of the feud shine in the subcontinent. Now other terrestrial predator comes close in strength, says, or lethal efficiency. The leopard cedes territory in its presence. The slothbear avoids its domains. Even the saltwater crocodiles, prehistoric beasts with devastating use, prefer to keep their distance when the felon approaches to drink. Its reign is not accidental. It is the result of millions of years of perfected evolution. The body of the Bengal tiger is a masterpiece of predatory engineering. Adult males reach up to 3 meters in length from the snout to the tip of the tail. The weight can exceed 250 kilograms in exceptional specimens. But the numbers do not capture its true essence. What defines this felon is the perfect proportion between muscle mass, flexibility, and explosive speed. The musculature of the shoulders and forelegs concentrates a force capable of bringing down prey that triple its weight. A single suo can fracture the scale of a water buffalo. The spine, extraordinarily flexible, allows twists and contortions impossible for other big cats. When the tiger yamps, its body stretches like a spring of living steel. The giant legs propel yamps of up to 5 meters in height. Horizontally, it can cover 10 meters in a single explosive stride. That initial acceleration is its definitive weapon. It does not chase, it ambushes. It does not tear out, it annihilates. The retractable claws measure around 10 centimeters. Curved, sharp like obsidian blades, they guide in skin sheaths until the precise moment. When they deploy, they tear flesh and muscle with surgical ease. There is now natural armor that stops them. But it is the fur that completes the work. Black stripes on an orangey background. Each pattern is unique, a fingerprint that now other tiger shares. This distinctive mark is not decor Ishon. It is perfected camouflage in the tall grasslands where light fragments into vertical lens, the tiger disappears. It becomes shadow, becomes Nazin, until it is too late. The head is proportionally larger than that of any other feline. The Joos canines that exceed 7 centimeters in length. The bait exerts a pressure of more than 450 kilograms per square centimeter, enough to pierce vertebrae and sever spinal cords. This arrives before the prey understand what just happened. The eyes, at the deep amber during the day, transform in the darkness. Behind the retina exists a reflective layer that amplifies any trace of light. In the penumbra of the jungle, where other predators go blind, the tiger sees with absolute clarity. The night is not an obstacle, it is an advantage. The jeering detects frequencies imperceptible to humans. The cracking of a branch at 200 meters. The accelerated heartbeat of a deer that just perceived danger. The labored breathing of a prey trying to hide. Nazin escapes those senses refined by millions of years of hunting. The sense of smell completes the sensory arsenal. It can track prey from kilometers away, distinguish the recent passage of a sambar from the old trail of a wild boar, detect the presence of other tigers in its territory. Every molecule of a carries information that the brain processes instantaneously. This body was not designed for beauty, it was designed to kill, and it fulfills its purpose with absolute efficiency. The Bengal tiger hunts with a methodology that borders on tactical perfection. There is now improvisation, there is now margin for error. Every hunt is an exercise of calculated patience and concentrated violence. The process begins long before the attack. The tiger patrols its territory in absolute silence. The pads of its paws caution every step. It can walk over dry leaves without producing the slightest crackle. It moves like smoke between the trees, invisible even to the most alert prey. During these rounds, it analyzes, memorizes the paths that deer used to reach the water, identifies the clearance where wild boar seek routes, studies the activity schedule of each species. It does not hunt at random. It hunts with information. When it locates a potential prey, the evaluation is immediate. Distance, obstacles, escape routes, physical condition of the animal. An old sambar with a limp is preferable to a young one in its prime. A distracted axis whale's drinking is worth more than an alert one in an open field. The tiger does not risk an area on difficult prey. Efficiency is everything. The approach can last hours. It advances centimeter by centimeter, freezing at any sign of alarm. If the prey rises its head, the tiger petrifies. It can maintain immobility for 20 minutes without a single muscle trembling. Patience is its most lethal weapon. When the distance reduces to less than 15 meters, some in Chinese, tension accumulates in the giant quarters. The muscles compress like steel springs. The eyes fix on the exact point where it will strike. There is now hesitation. There is now doubt. And then the world explodes. The initial leap is devastating. 3 meters of feline propelled at maximum speed. The impact brings down the prey before it can react. The front closed into the flanks, anchoring the tiger while the inertia drags both bodies. In a fraction of a second, the Joos seek the neck. The bait is serial. The canines pierce the trachea and compress the carotid arteries. The blood flow to the brain is interrupted. The prey loses consciousness in seconds. Death arrives shortly after, silent and definitive, but it is not always so clean. When the prey is larry, a gore of 700 kilograms, or a water buffalo in its prime, the tiger adapts the technique. It does not seek the neck immediately. First it attacks the giant legs, tearing tendons to immobilize, then it mounts on the back, using its weight to unbalance. Only when the prey falls does it apply the final bite. This chance can be prolonged. The gaur fights with desperate fury. Its jaws are mortal weapons that have killed careless tigers. Every second is a combat where any mistake can reverse the roles. The predator can become prey if it miscalculates. That is why the tiger prefers to avoid these confrontations. The sambar is its favored prey. Lari but meneable. Nutritious but not dangerous. A perfect balance between risk and reward. After death, the tiger drags the body to a safe place. It can move carcasses of 200 kilograms through dense undergrowth and irregular terrain. The strength required is extraordinary, but necessary. Other predators lurk, dolls in packs, opportunistic leopards, vultures that reveal the look Ishon with their circling flates. The feast can last several days. The tiger consumes up to 40 kilograms of meat in a single session. Then it rests near the carcass, violent, returning to feed until only clean bones remain. And then the cycle restarts. Patience is restored, senses sharpen, hunger returns. And somewhere in the jungle, a prey walks without knowing it has already been chosen. Territory is sacred for the Bengal tiger. It is not simply a space where it lives. It is an extension of its identity, a fortress it will defend to the death. An adult male can control up to 100 square kilometers of jungle. The borders are not arbitrary. They follow natural geographical features. Rivers, mountain ridges, Chinese invitation. Within these limits, the tiger is absolute sovereign. Now other male is tolerated. Territorial marking is a constant ritual. The tiger sprays urine mixed with glandular secretions on trees, rocks, and strategic bushes. The smell persists for weeks, a chemical warning that no intruder can ignore. It also leaves visual marks. Deep scratches on tree bark and a jade that demonstrates it says, signs that say, I live here. Stay away or die. Vocalizations complement demesse. The tiger's roar can be heard up to 3 kilometers away. It is a sound that vibrates in the chest, a low-frequency wave that penetrates the densest vegetation. Every roar proclaims presence and power. Neighboring tigers respond, establishing a dialogue of acoustic borders that avoids most direct conflicts. But when borders are violated, violence is inevitable. Confrontations between males are brutal. There are no prolonged intimidation rituals. There are no threatening postures that allow retreat. When two adult tigers clash over territory, they fight until one is incapacitated or dead. Close tier flanks, canines seek this route. White is used to crash and dominate. These battles leave deep scars, torn ears, lost eyes, wounds that fester for weeks. Even the victor pays a price. And the wounded tiger is a vulnerable tiger. Hunting becomes difficult. Weakness attracts challenges from older males. The spiral can be fatal. That is why mouse tigers respect borders. The system of chemical and acoustic signals exists precisely to avoid these costs. It is more efficient to proclaim dominion than to defend it with blood. Females operate under different rules. Their territories are smaller, between 20 and 40 square kilometers, and they can partially overlap with those of other females, especially if they are relatives. Mothers and daughters sometimes share permeable borders, tolerating presences that a male would never accept. A male territory typically encompasses those of several females. This overlap is not accidental, it is reproductive strategy. The dominant male has exclusive access to the females within these domains. Protecting this territory is protecting this genetic legacy. The relationship between males and females outside mating is distant. They actively avoid each other. When they cross by accident, the tension is palpable. The male may show aggression if the female is young, not because she wants to kill them necessarily, but because the young represent an investment that the female will fiercely protect, and conflicts benefit no one. There are exceptions. Tigers that have been observed sharing prey. Males that tolerate the presence of caps that are probable theirs. The social life of the tiger is more complex than its solitary reputation suggests. But these interactions are the exception. The rule is isolation. Every tiger is an island of power in an archipelago of adjacent territories. And every island will defend its borders with the fury of one Junus that loose in every zin is a matter of a single moment of weakness. The reproduction of the Bengal tiger is a process where violence and tenderness intertwine in unexpected ways. Females enter JIT every 3 to 9 weeks if they are not pregnant. During these periods, their biji evior changes dramatically. They vocalize more frequently. They mark the territory with urine loaded with pheromones. They rub their bodies against trees and rocks, leaving a chemical trail that males can detect from kilometers away. The male that perceives these signals responds. She follows the trail with obsessive determination. When she finds the female, a courtship ritual begins that can last several days. They approach with caution. They smell each other. They wrap their bodies in touches that seem almost tender, but tenderness just limits. Meeting is brief and violent. The male mounts the female, jolting their neck with his teeth. Copulation lasts less than a minute, but it repeats dozens of times during the days that the JIT lasts. Between each encounter, they rest, occasionally jump together, share an intimacy that neither will show to another tiger ever. When the JIT ends, the separation is abrupt. The male returns to his solitary routine. The female remains alone with what may become new life. Gestation lasts approximately 105 days. During this period, the female seeks an adequate shelter for bears, natural caves, dense bamboo formations, cracks between rocks, any place that offers protection against the elements and predators. Bears produces between 2 and 4 caps, although litters of 6 are not unheard of. The newborns are blind, deaf, and completely helpless. They weigh less than 1 kilogram. They depend absolutely on the mother for worms, food, and protection. The first weeks are critical. Infant mortality is devastatingly high. Diseases. Starvation when the mother cannot jump enough. Predation by other carnivores, including male tigers that eliminate EIT, young that are not theirs to force the female into JIT again. The mother is fiercely protective. She does not stray from the shelter more than strictly necessary. She jumps small price nearby to minimize the time of absence. If she detects threats, she relocates the caps one by one to alternative locations, carrying them delicately with jarriers designed to kill. At 2 weeks, the caps are open. At 6 weeks, they begin to explore the surroundings of the shelter. At 3 months, they accompany the mother on short expeditions, observing how she moves, how she stalks, how she evaluates the world. Learning is long and gradual. The caps practice hunting techniques with small prey that the mother captures and deliberately lets escape. They learn to stalk insects, to ambush frogs, to perfect the jump that one day will bring down some bars and gaurs. Adolescence brings new challenges. The caps grow rapidly, but they still depend on the mother for important jumps. At 18 months they are almost adult size, but their skills are not yet perfected. They fail more than they succeed. Every failure is a lesson. Between 2 and 3 years, separation arrives. Young females can establish territories near the mother, sometimes in sounds that she voluntarily cedes. Males must disperse farther, seeking empty spaces on a map that rarely just them. This is the most dangerous moment of their lives. Young tigers wandering through foreign territories, without enough experience to hunt efficiently, without strength to face established males. Many die of starvation. Others are killed by territorial adults. Only the most adapted find their place. And when they find it, the cycle restarts. New territories, new mates, new litters. Life pushes through days, as it just always done in the Indian jungle. The Bengal tiger does not exist in isolation. It is the apex of an ecological pyramid that it sustains, and that in turn sustains it. Its presence defines the behavior of the sense of species. Its absence would trigger a cascading collapse. The main prize formed the base of this relationship. The sambar, the largest deer of the subcontinent, can reach 300 kilograms. It is the preferred prey par excellence. Its dense meat provides energy for days. The chital, smaller and more abundant, complements the diet when sambars are scarce. The wild boar offers a different challenge. Why? Aggressive, armed with tasks that can endure. It demands more cautious junting techniques. The gaur represents the ultimate trophy. The largest wild bovine in the world, with males that exceed 1,000 kilograms. Few tigers dare to attack jealousy adults, but the old, the sick, the young separated momentarily all are potential targets. An adult gaur can feed a tiger for more than a week. In the Sundarbans, the diet diversifies by necessity. Axis deer splash through the mangrove seeking tender shots. Wild boars dig roots in the salty mud. But the tiger also hunts fish trapped in pools during low tide, crabs that emerge at dusk, even monkeys that descend too far from the trees. Adaptability is survival. The tiger's impact on its prey goes beyond direct predation. Its mere presence modifies behaviors. Deer avoid certain sounds during certain hours, while boars become more cautious near dense vegetation. This phenomenon, known as the ecology of fear, redistributes grazing pressure across the landscape. Where herbivores graze less, vegetation grows denser. Where they graze more, clearings remain open. The tiger, without knowing it, acts as an architect of the landscape. It scalps the young goal with the invisible chisel of terror. Other predators coexist in this network, although always subordinate. The leopard is the closet in size, but it actively avoids territories where tigers are dense. When bows felines cross, the leopard yields. There is now confrontation. Only recognition of hierarchies established millions of years ago. The dolls, Ishon wild dogs that hunt in packs of up to 20 individuals, represent a special case. In groups they can jarass even a tiger, stealing prize and jogging it to exoshon. But they also pay a price. Tigers have killed solitary dolls or small groups that miscalculated their numbers. The relationship is one of forced mutual respect. Sloths share territory without competing directly. Their diet of insects and fruits does not overlap with that of the tiger, but encounters can be dangerous for bows. The bear, when it feels threatened, attacks with surprising ferocity. Its long curved claws can cause serious wounds. Mouse tigers prefer to avoid these unproductive conflicts. In the rivers, margy crocodiles represent another established power. They can exceed 5 meters in length. In the water they are virtually invulnerable. But on land, the advantage invert. Tigers have been documented hunting young crocodiles that strayed too far from the bank. Also crocodiles ambushing tigers that were crossing rivers at the wrong point, scavenging birds' mate in a relationship of dependency. Vultures circle over carcasses that the tiger temporarily abandons. Their presence reveals the location of prey, attracting competitors. The tiger has learned to guide its victims with torn vegetation, delaying the inevitable discovery. Langurs and macaques act as an involuntary alarm system. Their warning cries at the presence of a predator alert the entire jungle. The tiger knew this. That is why it moves with extreme care under the trees where primates rest. A single squeal can ruin hours of patient stalking. This network of relationships is not static. It fluctuates with the seasons, with the rains, with the cycles of abundance and scarcity. The tiger navigates these complexities with the intuition of one who just evolved within them. It does not understand them, it inhabits them. They are part of its being as much as its stripes or its canines. There is a place where the Bengal tiger reaches its most extreme expression, where survival demands adaptations that defy everything known about the species. The Sundarbans. This mangrove delta, shared between India and Bangladesh, is the most extensive mangrove forest on the planet. More than 10,000 square kilometers of serpentine channels, islands that appear and disappear with the tides, and vegetation so dense that light becomes a memory. Dear water is not an obstacle, it is the environment. The tigers of the Sundarbans swim, not as a last resort, as a daily routine. They cross channels kilometers wide to patrol territories that no other feline could maintain. Their bodies have adapted to this aquatic reality. The subsuti ineus fat is denser, will provide an additional buoyancy. The pulse propel with surprising efficiency in the brackish water. But the Sundarbans are also the place where the tiger just become legend for darker reasons. Attacks on humans exceed any statistic from the rest of India. Fishermen you cast nets in solitary channels. Yanni collectors you penetrate too deep into the forest. Loggers you work where they shouldn't. All are potential preys for tigers that you've lost, or perhaps never developed. The natural fear of humans. Zioris abound. The salt water they constantly drink could alter their behavior. The scarcity of natural prey would force them to seek alternatives. The density of human population on the marines creates opportunities that hungry tigers cannot ignore. Probable all contribute. None explains completely. What is undeniable is that in the Sundarbans rolls Blair. The human is not an external observer. It is part of the food chain, and the tiger knows this. Villagers have developed survival strategies passed down for generations. Masks with faces painted on the back of the head to confuse tigers that prefer to attack from behind. Numerous groups that never separate. Constant noises to announce a presence. No guarantee is absolute safety, but all reduce the odds of becoming prey. The human-tiger conflict is not limited to the Sundarbans. Across the species rainy, pressure increases. Villages expand into territories that were Bengal. The corridors that connected tiger populations fragment into smaller and smaller islands. Domestic cattle grazes where wild deer once grazed. When a tiger kills cattle, retaliation is predictable. Poisoning of carcasses, traps, pouches gired by desperate communities. Every tiger lost to conflict is a blow to a population that cannot afford more losses. Pouching represents the most direct threat. Tiger bounds the skin, even the whiskers, reach extraordinary prices in Asian black markets. Traditional medicine, without scientific basis but with insatiable demand, consumes tigers at a rate that natural reproduction cannot compensate. Despite decades of legal protection, trafficking networks persist. They adapt. They evolve. Wild India is a system in anti-eyeball balance. Every tiger that survives here depends on territory, on prize, on the silence that civilization threatens to break. At first glance, the jungle seems eternal, but under its apparent immutability, everything is Chinese in. Habitat fragmentation, human pressure, and poaching rewrite the destiny of these crickets. Fewer than 3,000 Bengal tigers remain in the wild. A century ago, there were more than 40,000. The fall is vertiginous, irreversible if no action is taken. The strength of this predator does not guarantee its future. Its claws can bring down buffaloes, but they cannot stop bulldozers. Its canines can pierce vertebrae, but they cannot combat human greed. Its perfect camouflage is useless against rifles with telescopic sets. Protecting these forests is protecting the last bastion of a king that does not ask for mercy. Only space to exist. Only territory where its stripes can fade into the shadows. Only enough praise to fit bodies descend for perfect chanting. The Bengal tiger does not know it is threatened. It does not understand statistics or population trends. It simply continues doing what it just done for millions of years. Patrols, stalks, hunts, reproduces, defends. Every dawn in the Indian jungle brings with it the same question that just resonated since the first tiger roared in these forests. A question that only time and human decisions can answer. Will there be another dawn after this one? If you felt the strands of this journey, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories of nature in its pure state. Until next time.